The last time we talked to Jose Jefferson, he was packing his bags and heading down to Florida for a new venture as the GM of the Florida International Football Team. But that didn't mean he was leaving his College Gridiron Showcase behind. Fast forward to today, not only is FIU ready to hit the field running this fall, the CGS is announcing new partnerships, new venture, new things that will make the game that so many people love even better. Today, we will talk about the CGS. We will talk about all those new partnerships and more here on Scouting the League. Everybody, and welcome to Scouting the League. Before we jump in with Jose and the fun conversations on all things college all-star games, specifically that College Gridiron Showcase, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you are listening and watching. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube. Head to our home at profootballinsiders.com as well. Follow Pro Football Insiders at pro_FB_insiders. Taking this Scouting the League podcast to a daily podcast, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Get a nice snapshot of something from the scouting world for myself. Wednesday, continue our long format episodes. And Friday, Neil Stratton continue to bring you a little appetizer of that full Inside the League Friday wrap. No matter what you do in the world of football, if you are in the game of football, a scout, a personnel director, or somebody that just loves and breathes the game, we will have something for you. So make sure you set your reminders and, most importantly, share it with a friend. As we jump in with Jose, scouts, don't forget to check out the scouting community. Aspiring scouts, check it out as well at thescoutingcommunity.com. Whether it's development, salary and data surveys, networking, mentorship, insurance and financial planning, anything that we can do for you as a scout or aspiring scout, we will do. That is thescoutingcommunity.com. Go check it out, get signed up, and use all the resources you have at your fingertips. Now is the perfect time before you head on the road and get really wrapped up in this fall's football season. But back to today, Jose Jefferson, we know him, we love him. You can head back and check the archives for our last episode where we talk Jose's background, how he got to the CGS All-Star Game, all the stops along the way. But today we will focus on that College Gridiron Showcase, so let's get to it. Well, Jose Jefferson is back with us here on Scouting the League. The last time, Jose, we had you on, you were just getting ready for a new venture. You've still got CGS for you, but you were getting started at FIU, GM, Director of Player Personnel. I mean, how's it been? You've got that program ready to hit the ground running here in a short couple weeks, as I'm sure you know, and you know, give everybody an update. How's it been down in Florida?
It's like drinking out of the fire hose down there. It's different, and the ever-changing landscape of college football. It's just been amazing because when we got down there, we were there about 3 weeks before signing date, and it was kind of like abracadabra, pull a recruiting class out of your butt, and that's what we did, and we end up with the number one class in Conference USA. So it paid off. I mean, I made a strategy for us to blitz the 3-county area down there, Miami-Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach. And
there's some good football players there in Florida. I believe that is still the case.
Well, and you know, in that area, those 3 counties, there's 7 million people.
Yeah.
So if you can't recruit that, then you have problems. And so we made a blitz of that area, and it paid off. And so we went into spring with like, okay, you know, we're set. We're going to go to spring, and we'll see what we got, and then we'll pinpoint some things in the portal, and we'll pick and choose there. 20 guys later in the portal, and then turning over the roster, we turned over 48 guys after spring, and then we started in on our 2026 classes. And so far, I think we have 19 commits for 2026. So this was all before I came home for vacation. from starting out as, well, we're going to be a developmental team. We're going to get high school kids to, we're going to flip over half the roster, get our 26 signed. And now when I get back, we're working on 27s into the fall. And it's crazy, and being in Texas for the last 12 years and experiencing their high school football is a lot different than Florida. I will say Texas as well, probably better coached. And a lot of that is due to probably their financing of their head coaches, because those guys make six figures and, they teach football classes, to where in Florida, they're still stipend jobs. Guys are making 7-8 grand, but those players in Texas are smarter because of the coaching. But the athleticism in Florida is insane. They call it what they play cat coverage in Florida, to where, like, you got that cat, you got that cat, you got that cat. That's how they play it, and it's amazing. And I was a high school coach 20 years ago, maybe longer than that, 25 years ago, and I've never experienced 7-on-7. But that's a religion. I mean, it is almost toxic. And experiencing there, and you see these kids, and we saw this one kid. He was about 5'11", about 170 pounds, and he was just cooking these kids, receivers going anywhere. He was in 8th grade. I was like, oh my God. And we offered him right there on the spot. We're like, good luck keeping him for the next 4 years. But that's what you get down there. But the experience has been great, dealing with administration, dealing with our NIL, dealing with agents. And that's been the easy part for me, because most of those guys know me, or at least they know who I am. But it is definitely a moving target. Anybody who says they have it down is fooling themselves. I've talked to a few other GMs that I know, that from a prior life with CGS, Scott Aligo being one of them, Jim Nagy being one, and they all have the same issues of, there's no blueprint to what we're doing. And I talked to Jim, and he's like, I don't know why you're calling me. It sounds like you got it, pretty much where you need it to be. But ever since that call, I really don't call anybody, because everybody's situation is different. And Jim, ironically enough, he goes, you're probably the only GM in the country that has his own all-star game and it has coached his head coach. So he goes, your relationship has got to be like amazing. And it is. Working with Willie, I haven't seen Willie, in 20 years. We talked on the phone, but to be around him full time in a different capacity. And then he's made me the old man in the building. I'm serious. He said that he did that by design. So I bring a lot of wisdom. They don't even call me Jose. They don't call me coach. They call me Uncle JJ. So it's a term of endearment that I've embraced, but it's a different role for me, because I watch the whole program. I watch the coaches. I watch what we do scouting wise. Me and Willie meet probably once every other day for a hard 15 minutes to an hour about what's going on. And he says, you're in this role because of your background in the game, and I need somebody to tell me the truth. He goes, you're the only guy that's in this building that sat in the seat, and you've done it at a high level. And so for you to sit there and tell me something, I'm going to listen to it, because it was very similar to with Hines Ward. And when I was a coach, I didn't have an older coach of color mentoring me. I learned it on the run. And so to be able to take this role, I've embraced it, and I have zero desire to coach. So if anybody's asking or inquiring, no, it's pretty much out of me. But I love sitting in the meeting rooms. I love watching tape. I love the evaluation part of it. But the nice thing about the coaching part is I can leave the room during the meetings and nobody cares. And I don't miss anything, and it's fine. But the scouting or the GM part of it is slowly turning administrational, to where I'm dealing with the AD, dealing with the compliance guy, dealing with the agents, to where evals, and I don't care what anybody says, it's basically based on the money. We can all find players. That's not the hard part. It's a matter of who can afford who or what. That's, to me, kind of takes a little bit of the recruiting out of it, takes the art out of it, and makes it more of a science, to where you can get some younger guys in and say, well, hey, and this metrics, blah, 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 and da, 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 and we got this amount of money, so we can do this, as opposed to just looking at a guy and saying, that guy can play. Nobody does that anymore.
Jose,
they really don't.
Get louder for the people in back, buddy. When I talk to young people now, I say, you might think about getting into development, because money is where all this is going. It's It's a critical
Exactly.
part of everything. You know, I mean, the books I'm reading, everything that I've talked to is lining along that way, and for better or worse. Well, Jose, we could talk to you for a full hour on your job. Actually, I would love to. But you've got an interesting hobby. You've already kind of alluded to it. You're the co-founder of one of the six majors among the college all-star games, games that are feeding players to NFL teams in January. And you've got a expanding and growing, established in 2015. I've been privileged to be a part of the board for most of those years. But you're here today because the game's growing. I should say the showcase is growing. It's expanding. It's going in a lot of different new directions, and we're excited about that. Let's start talking about a new sponsorship partnership. How do you want to characterize it?
It's been an ongoing partnership, but it's always been an in kind and a by the way, and they've really decided to take they've seen the results, the proof of product, and they really decided to be a part of it. And tracking football has been amazing to us. It's still to this day a segue with Jim Nagy. Still to this day, we were talking, and he still asked me, and this is how competitive he is. He said, "How in the hell did you get Kenny Nwangu?" He's still talking about that. I'm like, dude, you got to LIG that, man. You got to let it go. I mean, we got him. You guys passed on him. It's all good. And but getting Kenny Nwangu was a huge part for us through tracking football, because we looked at their athleticism, and that's what teams are doing now. And because anybody who says they don't like analytics isn't a true football guy, because we've used analytics, 40, shuttle time, vertical, bench press. Those are analytics. Now, do they need a computer to generate that? Hell no. You just jumped on the bench or you just ran a 40. Now they're using more computer things, 22 miles per hour, impact, how many steps you're taking, blah, 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 blah. And like you were saying, Neil, with that, you've got two types of scouts, two types of evaluators. The old school guys, kind of like myself, yourself, Rodrik, same way, where we can look at a guy and say, yeah, he can play. No, he can't. And you got a new scout that is going to basically break down this guy to raw wood through analytics and try to look at him and say, can he play football? But tracking football doesn't do that. And that's why I like them. They just tell me how athletic this guy is. And they give me track times, and I was an All-American in track and field. And he goes, it's not fair to you, because he says, yeah, this guy ran 11 flat in 100. I'm like, and most guys, if you go to any Power 4 school and you say you guys run 11 flat or a 10-9, they're all over him. I ran 10.63 in high school. So it's like, nah, he ain't really that good. So I have to temper myself down. But the whole point of it is they just tell me how athletic he is and how many different sports he's played. And it's on a barometer, and their metrics is so good and so accurate. I don't even have to look at the guy. I look at the metrics, and then I'm a junkie, so I'm going to look at the guy, but it's usually pretty right on. Kenny Nwangu was one. I mean, going back to him, Iowa State, following the cat that's playing at the Jets
Brees
right
Hall.
now, third down back. Brees Hall, following Brees Hall, third down back, does returns. The guy is a spot player, but on their scale from 0 to 5, 5 being superior, this guy's a 4.7. 4.7. I think Brees Hall was like maybe 3.9 or 4.0, but he's Brees Hall. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, we'll take this guy. And what does he do? He makes a living in returns, third down back, and he's all pro. Yeah. And that's what I like about him, is that it gives us the edge of not having to wonder what kind of athlete this is. I know what kind of football player Kenny Nwangu was. He's a spot player. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at stats, no, it's not great. I mean, third down back, receiving out of backfield, blocking. He's going to get a return every now and then. They're going to throw him a bone when they're winning a game or losing a game, fourth quarter garbage yards. But he's a hell of a player. And that's one small story over hundreds that we've dealt with tracking football. And they see what's happening with us. And I say with us is I've become the old man on the block, not of age, but of experience. There's nobody in the game right now that's been doing it in the all-star circuit as long as I have. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I take it as a badge of honor, but now that we've done that and they see that we've got staying power, they want to be with us. Now, will they help the shrine? Absolutely. Will they help the singing? Absolutely. But they have access with us. And that's one thing that we do that a whole bunch of other events do not do. We're going to give them access. We're going to have them, around the people. We're going to have them around the scouts, the agents, the players, and just be engulfed. They are a part of CGS. So that's what's exciting about it. Plus, Mark, Branstad is a hell of a guy. He's a great friend. He's like you, Neil. I mean, I take him that I endear you guys because you guys have been with us through the struggle, from, starting out to where we didn't have enough tables in the damn hotel to get the scouts done, to damn near the NFL put me in the crosshairs trying to get rid of us, to now being an officially sanctioned event. I mean, we've lived some life in 12 years, and they've done the same thing to where they were heretics because they're using different statistics and nobody wanted them, to where now they're over 150 institutions in the NFL and they're a thing. And so now you take two uprising things and you put them together, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Kene,
Okay,
I love the Kene Nwangu. I had the privilege of doing Iowa State the year that Brees and Kene was coming out, and I credit Rick Spielman and the Vikings because down in Atlanta we had the card ready to go about a round or two later. But again, Kene it was easy to see right on film. You talk about that old school. It was easy. Not a ton of snaps, but when he got his shot, again, he had 3 or 4 explosive touchdowns where he just flat ran past everybody, and then he drops a good 40 at his pro day. All those things make sense. All fantastic. Again, tracking football for the outsider, for the scout, for the agent that's going to be attending the event, for everybody that's maybe not right in the middle of it. Is CGS going to look any different with the new relationship, or is it business as usual? It's just getting even better, deeper as it continues to grow with tracking football.
I think it's more exposure to tracking football. I mean, we've always placed them in the scouting room, where it's basically like Fort Knox, or the Library of Congress. You got to have a badge to get in and be a certain somebody. But we're placing them in there. We're also placing them on our logos and things of that nature, and putting them out to where they'll be a part of our staff. As opposed to just like a regular partner, to where, okay, you gave your partnership, you're going to put you on a table and you basically eat what you kill. No, they're going to be part of us. So a lot of the decisions, a lot of the things that we're doing are going to wrap around, like we're, getting down further in the conversation. We are doing seminars and they're going to be a part of that. They're going to build their own seminar with their own people in it and have a place. And I think we've all talked about that, to where there's like 20,000 square feet that we have at the downtown Sheridan. And I'm not emotionally attached to any one of it. So if there's somebody that has an opportunity to do something in it, hey, and it's going to help the event, help themselves, knock yourself out. But that's where it's going to be different, to where they're going to appeal to more agents, appeal to more scouts, because most of those guys know them anyway. Now it's a matter of getting in there and be able to socialize with those guys. We're having a mixer this year, to where we're inviting everybody down to be able to do that. And it's, we've definitely matured in that area of being a scout put it best. I won't put him out on blast, but he goes, I love coming to CGS because you guys haven't realized that you're big time yet. And I laugh because it's like, to me, I'm still a working guy, and they love coming because of the access. And I think that's what we're going to continue to do with tracking football.
Well, I think another facet of the CGS is the family atmosphere of the staff. Now, we've lost a few faces over the years, as you well know. You're looking for some new faces. Tell us about what you're trying to do with internships.
The internship is near and dear to my heart because for a lot of reasons. Number one, I was the very first runner at CGS, and Neil can tell you.
Literally,
me and John Peterson. John Peterson, trained me well and to be a runner at my own event. And, we never thought about doing it. And it took us because we did it every year, but we basically were all doing it. And then probably about 5 or 6 years ago, we're like, what are we doing? Let's get some young people in here who want to get in. And not that we were in, but to get in and to experience this, because think about this. I mean, go back to your college days, and if somebody said, hey, you're going to work with the Saints, Neil, you got them all weekend, you're down, Rodrik, you're going to work with the Falcons or your favorite team. You're down. You're going to do this, and you never know. And so when we started doing it, it became so small. And one of the first people to kind of kick it off, like, oh, this could actually work, was Jessica Gaffney. Actually, she's McClanahan, but she's Gaffney now, works for the Dallas Cowboys as their scouting administrator. And I used to deal with her when she was with the Titans every year. I mean, she's diligent, hey, you got a roster, got this, got this, got this. And so I knew her, and she called me and said, hey, I live in McKinney. I just got laid off from the Titans, blah, 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 blah. Could I come down and network? And I said, hell yeah. I mean, she's a great gal. She came down, and at that point in time, we're probably about year 5 or 6, 5. And she redid our scouting room. I give her the credit on how our scouting room looked so much better. And then we got our runners all squared up. And then she goes, do you mind if I network there? And I introduced her to Chris Hall. And the rest is history.
That's right.
And she gave me a call about 2 weeks later and said, thank you very much. I just got hired by Dallas, and it was because I met Chris Hall and blah, 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 blah at your event. So she, on record, is probably the first person that we've had this internship with that has had success. And so we started pumping it up that way. And next thing you know, we're getting kids hired for colleges, to be not student assistants, but, analysts or NFL scouting assistants, or going to internships. And this thing is growing. And the teams are liking it. One scout told me, he says, I love coming here and bringing the young scouts because, number one, they get to learn how to interview, not just ask the base questions because we don't have the time. We just let them go. Number two, they see that somebody else is working their ass off to try to get what they're at, and it gets them going like, oh, so it has grown so much. And as Jessica being the first one to get the job, I'm probably the biggest success story out of it because I've gotten 2 jobs from it by just being there with the XFL, with the Brahmas, and now with, being a GM. I mean, granted, I knew Willie, but he told me due to my event, my relationship with the NFL, my relationship with colleges, he said he couldn't think of anybody else who could do this job for him. So it works. And we put out a press release this morning, and within about an hour and a half, I had 30 responses that after I'm done here, I still have to get to some more. But that's how big it has grown. And do we charge people for it? Absolutely, we will. Because number one, you should always gamble on yourself. Nothing is free here. Nothing. And Neil, you ran the Hula Bowl. Rodrik, you've been in the league. No one's going to hand you anything. You've got to work for it, number one. Number two, if we did it for free, we'd have about 500 people doing it, and we do not need 500 people. And it takes the exclusivity out of it. So we want to make it a very narrow group, a very qualified group. And I say qualified, I mean, I don't care what sports you've been. I don't care what sex you are. If you've been in sports, whether it be volleyball, field hockey, football, and you've done operations, and you've done, I mean, what we get NASCAR, we get WWE, we get Japanese athletes, we get National Rugby League. Somebody's going to find you to give you a job if you're there and you're around scouts and people who can hire. So, like I said, the 30 people that I saw an email today and responded to and didn't get to the other ones, it's a good thing. So I take that near and dear to my heart, and every day I go to work, or do anything with FIU, I think about this program because I know if anybody doubts it, look at me. I started this 12 years ago with Craig, and because of it, I have 2 very big jobs that I didn't apply for, that they found me at the event.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, differentiate between the internship program and the CGSU program. Are they the same? Are they different?
CGSU Yeah, CGSU is more of the educational component. Now, if you're an intern, you're going to attend CGSU, but we're opening up CGSU to the masses. If we get 100 or 200 people there, so be it. And what that is for, okay, just to give you a 30,000 foot view of who our former players for the last 5 years are going to get an email on this. Agents who have interns or whatever, scouts who know, he's got that guy that's always calling them. Come on, Roddy, you know that. Hey, come on, hook me up. Everybody has that guy, and so it's open to. And what we're doing with that is, it's a seminar. Like, we're going to talk about analytics. And Tracking Football is going to give a half hour, 45-minute thing on analytics outside of what they're going to do in their version of their seminar. They're going to be college scouting departments, how they work, pro scouting departments, how they work, a GM forum, because it's going to be myself. And because at first Craig's like, well, why don't you speak? And I'm like, but my experience is very narrow. I'm at a G5. It's a lot different. So we're getting SMU, we're getting TCU, we're getting North Texas. And I wanted a collaboration of GMs. Did I want any other GMs to speak at my event, like be a speaker? No, because I can do that. But I wanted the collaboration so they can see how different our jobs are. You can't say, well, I'm a GM at XYZ school and ABC school, and it's the same. It isn't. So we're doing a forum with that. We're going to do a scout life, day in the life of scouting, how the scouting process works. We're going to do women in football. In fact, Jessica is coming back to speak about that. So that's where the educational component comes. So if you're an intern, that's included with your internship. If you don't get the internship, you can, purchase and get into that seminar. And it's a 2-day thing. Starts on Thursday, I think Thursday morning, goes all day. We're going to feed you lunch, then we're going to have a mixer that night, and then we're going to finish Friday morning. And then they can stay to listen to the players. We, induct the players and whatnot. And then they can stay for the practices because they'll have passes and whatnot. They may not be running for the teams, but they can network because you know how that lobby gets. It's basically Compton swap meet meets Wall Street. Bang. It's let's go. But we're excited about the educational component. We're also adding the free agents into that too. And I know it's further down, but the reason being is that, we all know the ANCs of the world and the hubs of the world, and they get there and they time you in, you do the one-on-ones or whatever, and they kick you in the butt and get you out and say, well, you did okay, we'll get you your times. We don't want to do that, and we've never done that. We're going to educate these guys because at some point these cats have got to let the game go, and they got to get on that track of working. And that's what Adrian with B-Doc Sports, Adrian Lunsford with B-Doc Sports does. He's taken that on because me and him both been on that path with the Arena League to where, do I keep playing? Do I, go do the job thing? And I got out of it healthy, knocking on wood, at 28 years old, after 5 years of basically getting beat up by the wall and any defender out there and catching balls off the nets, to say, this is it for me. I mean, I was on a practice squad with the Chiefs and the Cardinals, but I'm a practice squad guy on all levels, NFL, AFL, that's it. And a lot of guys can't put it down. And we want to let them know that there is life afterwards. Your worth isn't what uniform you're wearing as much as what you can contribute to the game, whether it be in analytics, whether it be in scouting, whether it be in personnel, whether it be as a GM, whether it be anything, and one of my guys that I graduated from high school with, his name is Sean Herman. He's going to come in and he owns an employment business. He used to be a CEO at Service King before they sold, and he started his own business to help people with their resumes and what employers look for. So this is full scale of helping guys. And that's what I'm afraid of with the NIL, with all these kids is once they get all these monies and everything and the cheers stop and the money stop, what are they going to do? And we're seeing a small version of that with free agents now. So we're just trying to get in front of the curve with it.
So this is going to have a kind of a job fair aspect to it, Jose?
Yes, absolutely. And that's where we're different than the Senior or the Shrine or any other of these bowls, to where it's very hands off. If you're not a scout or an agent, get the hell away. We don't want that. We want to bring as many people in, because let's be real. I'm a GM at a FBS school, which is arguably probably one of the top 3 hottest jobs in the country right now. Any industry.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to not share that knowledge, for me not to invite anybody in, especially with the platform that I have as the GM, and I say the platform, not FIU, CGS.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Jim was saying there's no other GM in the country that can do that. You know, you can invite people to your school and you can do a podcast like this, which I love. You guys are awesome. But now I can bring people together and affect what this landscape's going to look like, and let these kids know. I mean, it's not easy. You know, it is not easy. And they think it's going to be because of what they see, not
Right.
it's easy to fool people when all they do is look, learn with their eyes. They just see the results. They don't see the process, and they have to understand that process. So absolutely, we are opening this thing up to let people know that, excuse me, I know we're probably not on a R-rated platform, but this shit ain't easy. It is not easy. I mean,
Well,
anybody says and it's not to interrupt you, but it kills me when people say, well, I can be a GM of a school. I'm like, you must be out of your freaking mind. It's
Mm-hmm.
freaking tough,
yeah.
so.
Well, and speaking of some of the success stories, we have ex-CGSers at Georgia, Wyoming, Memphis, Utah, Illinois, and FIU, obviously. On the college side, on the pro side, the Browns, Broncos, Bears, Chargers, Saints, Cowboys, and Dolphins, and 3 CFL teams, Calgary, Hamilton, and Montreal. So, and that's in 12 years, right?
Yeah, no, actually 5.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. Since we've really
Yeah.
expanded the program. Yeah, absolutely right.
Mhm.
So get there, be part of it. You'll get opportunities. Now let's move on to the workout that's scheduled that y'all are going to be a part of. Let's talk about that a little bit.
The same thing with them. I mean, they'll get involved with the seminar. What they pay for, they'll get the seminar. They'll come in, and we want them to mix. We want them to hobnob. I mean, you never know who you're going to meet. And then when the seminar's over, they'll go to the field and do their updating testing. They'll do their position groups, and we usually get scouts early anyway. I know the UFL is coming. I know the IFL is coming. CFL is going to be there. AF1 is going to be there. So the name of that game is job.
Right.
Get a job. And it kills me. Adrian has a call once a month with the free agents, and we go on. And it's anywhere from 40 to 60 guys. It's a really vibrant call. And I just remember talking to a guy, and he's like, well, I'm not paying for $250 a game. And I go, well, okay. He goes, well, I'm worth a lot more than that. I said, I feel you. So how much in football do you make now?
Mm-hmm.
And it's silent. And I go, there you go. I mean, and I get it. That we're in the era, the generation to where, self-worth branding, NIL, and blah, blah, blah is rampant. But at the end of the day, slow money is better than no money. And then game tape is invaluable. And I said, every year you're on Facebook trying to do the TO and do the bench press in the driveway and running on a sand volleyball court. Every year you do that, there's somebody that's coming out that is taking your spot every year. And the further you get away from pads, because there's nothing you can do unless you're going to stand in front of your car and let somebody hit you with it that can replicate game action. And it's just, they don't get it. Mm-hmm. And we've placed a lot of guys with teams, and we've partnered with the IFL silently. And I say silently, it's a handshake, what I call an Omaha contract. Yeah, we'll help you out, or the AF1, to where with the guys we get through CGS and the free agent, we can basically roster their whole league, and that's what they need, because between the UFL, the IFL, the AFL, nobody is interested in. And I'm a veteran of all those leagues as a player at the AFL, as a coach with the IFL, and coach and administrator with the XFL. Nobody wants to see a 30-year-old quarterback anymore. Mm-hmm. They just don't. They want it to be true developmental, and that's the fight that they have to come across. But at least we're providing them with guys, and this is where tracking football comes in. This is one thing that free agents, and Rodrik, you'll appreciate this. You've gone to free agent events, and you get the times and you do the thing and you're like, blah, 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 blah. But what we do with it is we take tracking football, who takes all the measurables from the combine from 1999, and they put them in a bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And I did this with the XFL, and they were shocked. They had 1,500 guys test. Now, an NFL free agent on tracking football scale is about a 2.5, 2.6. Out of 1,500 guys, how many guys you think scored 2.5?
Handful.
Yeah.
85.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
85. Now, out of 85, how many do you think scored 3.0 or better?
Again, a fraction probably.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah,
28. And I showed this to them, and they were like, holy shit. And I'm like, yes, this is what you're getting. That's why you're not signing any of these guys there, and that's why it looks like a chicken feed or a picnic or something, a cash grab, because you're getting these guys that have zero chance, and nobody's even looking at them. And so that's why we try to vet the guys that come in, so at least they can move the needle. And even if they don't move the needle, we are telling you they don't move the needle. Here's the report, and they're like, oh, okay. And they're looking for the 2.5s or better.
Yeah.
And did we have to do anything grand? No. They're running a 40 on the clock. They tracking football, abracadabra, whatever it is they do, transmogrified the thing, and the report comes out. Here you go. And the scouts love it. Now, did we do anything different? Yeah. We used a little analytics, but we helped them do their job to sort through the stuff that they don't want. That's why I always said scouting is like how my wife watches TV. She doesn't want to know what's on. She wants to know what else is on. And that's what scouts are. They want to know what else is out there, and now they know. So and plus for the player, if you test out and you're at a 2.0, guess what? It's probably job time.
Yeah.
Probably job time, which the job fair, CGSU is going to say, oh, now I'm in a whole different world. I can go to coaching route, scouting route, personnel route, analytics route. Hell, I can come to CGS and help out route. I'm alum for CGS, which we had. Coming back and coaching, and I just get excited about it because I've unknowingly built a recession-proof business, and I haven't realized it. I realized it during COVID when I'm on a phone with GMs and Jim Nagy and me, and they're saying, I'm like, why am I on this call? They said, because you're where the buck stops. We don't have to ask anybody else for anything.
Yeah.
And they were very complimentary for me, helped me out a lot. But as long as there's pro football, as long as there's college football, as long as there's college football that want to go to pros, there's always going to be an all-star event. Now, how you do it is a different thing. If you want to go and lace out $100, $250, $500,000 to do it, you're a freaking idiot, and that's fine. You can do that at Mobile because you got the city. You can do that with Stratton because you got the hospital. Anybody else that wants to fold that out, you probably are independently wealthy, and good for you. But unless you make it a business, because the one question I asked to the NFL, and they still probably MFing me over it, is I said, what are you going to do now with the amateur status or lack thereof of college players? Because that's what their big thing was on me, that I'm charging kids that are amateurs. Now you got the one kid, going to sign for three years for $3.2 million at Texas Tech. I think he could afford CGS if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably 20 million times over. So that's what I'm saying. That's why tracking football jumped on. And I had an agent tell me, and I won't reveal his name as well too, that I've got to piss off the NFL because now they have 2 grand events, senior and the Shrine, that they can't charge guys to come to and probably have to pay guys to come to.
It's coming soon, isn't it?
Well, it happened last year.
Yeah.
It happened last year. And
not officially, but yeah.
No, it happened last year. I know. Trust me, I know. And now here we are, an event that charges guys, and our ROI is good. We're in the black, figuratively and literally speaking, and we're doing good business. And they see that. And the NFL, just like any other behemoth of a company, either they try to eliminate you or they try to absorb you.
Absolutely.
And it's our economy. It's our economy in a nutshell. NIL, bowl games. If it moves, you tax it.
Yeah.
If it keeps on moving, You regulate it.
It's the
And
it's
NIL, and if it stops, you subsidize it. That's our economy in a nutshell. I should run for president. So
it's hard sometimes to we'd love to sit here and rag on the NFL for some of the decisions they make, but at the end of the day, it's paid my bills for a long time. It's paid Neil's bill for a long time. It helped pay.
There's no. Oh yeah, it's helped me. I mean, there's no need to rag on them. It's just they sometimes they are penny smart and dollar dumb.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'll say that sometimes. Other times, I mean, when you are okay, let's be real. What other blueprint do they have? They don't. Everybody is working off of their blueprint, and they can't. i.e. CFL, IFUFL, they can't. So that's why I say penny smart, dollar dumb, is because, those guys are making money hand over fist. However, dollar dumb, because they could be doing some other things with it, like subsidizing a UFL and making a true developmental league, like helping the NCAA control some of the crazy things that are going on right now. They could really step in and do something, but they don't.
Right.
And only reason why they don't do it is because they don't have to. You know what I mean? And it's to me, it goes back to the Constitution. That's something I always, if you have the ability to help something or somebody, you have the responsibility to do so. And that's how I see it. And that's how I see CGS. I have the ability to help people, so it's my responsibility to do so.
Yeah.
But they don't look at it that way. Everybody's too scared to move that ship, to turn it, and put it in a direction that's new, because everybody's trying to keep their job, which they don't understand that that's not your dream job, because once they fire you, you're still a part of somebody else's dream.
Yep.
So let's talk about as we run out of time here, Jose, let's talk about the fifth new feature y'all are introducing that you're going to kind of be bringing to social media and telling people about. It's called CGS Scouting. What is that, Jose?
Tracking football, once again. Mark Branstad approached me about evaluating the lower levels, FCS Division II, Division III, NAIA, which, let's look at the draft. I think last year there were 11 drafted players that weren't FBS guys, and I think 2 were Canadian. 1 was D2, and the rest were FCS guys. So you're talking 8 guys. And it's not so much to evaluate them to get them drafted as much as to evaluate them once again to see what's out there. Because let's be real, the draft has changed. The draft is more fodder and entertainment and things, outside the first round. And even probably into the second day is probably the draft. Third day, it doesn't matter. But where the action happens is the undrafted free agents. And CGS last year had an undrafted free agent get $276,000 guaranteed, which is more than what Shador got on his guarantee contract. That's amazing. And so now that's where that game is going. And so teams are interested in that level, because if they can get a guy for cheap, because they're paying somebody $250 million, and you need a guy on the end of the roster to make lunch meat, minimum. It's not even minimum. You're one step below coach. You're like peasant at that point in time. And, if you can get a guy that can do that can stay on the field on a practice squad, then you got a find. And so that's why Mark is like, and he wanted me to do it. He said, I wouldn't do it if anybody else is going to do it. And so I said, okay, I'll bite the bullet and I'll do it. And we put a sample size together of kind of the top 200 FCS kids, period. Not seniors, just period, that had a good sample size, over 200 snaps that we can evaluate. And the thing is that teams like that, they want to see it. And the Power Fours want to see it, because if a kid's blowing it up, let's take from there. And we've even done that at FIU, to where we got a recruiting class, but we also picked up redshirt freshmen from Power Fours that sat out, but they got the practice. They've got they played every day against Power Four competition. They just didn't make the field. But guess what? They could probably play for us because they matured. So that, to me, is as good or better than a high school senior coming out, to me. So it's a different dynamic and a different way of recruiting. Is it a standalone product with them? Probably not. It's an add-on. Like, okay, if you belong to tracking football, you bought this package, so you're going to get this. So that's what we're trying to do with it right now. Is it something that I see myself doing again like this? I don't know, because it was time consuming. The man hours for me was about a good 8-9 days, 6 hours a day of just bank. But like I said, off air, it's simpler to do certain things evaluation wise, because I wasn't looking in depth at that much film, but looking at their skill. So it's a good thing. And so we'll see how it takes off. And I think because of the credibility I built through CGS, through coaching, through playing, through administrating, for me to evaluate a kid very briefly, not a tome, I think it's appealing. And when Mark showed it to a few people, they really liked it. So I think it's something that it won't be this year, but going into next year, springtime, I think it'll be a pretty big thing, especially since National and Blesto, the list is getting smaller. And I don't blame them. If you only got 8 guys from that sample size getting drafted, why would you, expend the resources to go get a whole bunch of guys that are going to be undrafted free agents anyway? Yeah. I understand it. But the teams still want what they want.
Yeah. And they will always, kind of for teams, it goes back to everything you just said. They always want what's not out there. Again, what we have is great. NFS, Blesto, great. All-Star Games, great. What else? What else could we do? And again, the NFL has the resources to kick the tires. Hey, let's experiment for a year, pull the plug, pay out a year. All of it's changing. The moving target's changing. College football is changing. Who knows? The All-Star Game circuit may change. It's going to change. We all know it's all changing. And the beautiful thing that you've built with CGS, doing it the right way, I would say the right way, again, with the mindset, with every level, we're helping guys. We are embracing the small school. It used to be the small school showcase. We're embracing the players that are going to get overlooked. We're embracing the free agents. We're embracing the interns, the CGSU. You do right to people, you're going to help yourself out in the end. It all comes back around. I would say the NFL could take a lesson in that aspect. Again, regardless of everything else, the NFL is the most powerful league in the world. They're doing a great job. People are lined up now for games that are going to happen a month and a half away. The NFL competes against itself for every bit of programming. It's all good. But again, absolutely. The CGS, absolutely a part of it. Hopefully, I've been there as a scout. I've been there post-scout. Hopefully, I can get back there again this year. First weekish in January. Do we have solid dates yet? Do we know when it is?
January 9th through the 11th, but the seminars and things are starting on the 8th. But if you are a scout, an agent, the 9th through the 11th. And we've gotten smarter there. I mean, there's no way we need to keep guys there 5 days to do the same thing. And I get why they do that, because they want to play games, and when you do that, you got to have the meetings, and that's what takes away the interview time. That's what takes the time on the field. You got to get guys lined up. And then to me, the more you can script it, and that's the part I don't understand about the NFL, because I had this argument with a few NFL personnel, which will remain nameless, that look at your Pro Bowl. And if you're trying to tell me you're not concerned with player safety, I mean, come on, that I don't even watch that thing anymore because it's a joke. Yeah. And now you want these kids to come into your league and basically play a game. I mean, I know you guys play just as I did. Nobody wants to play a game that means nothing. Nope. And with guys you don't know.
Don't even play bowl games because they mean nothing anymore, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, and you're talking about young men's future, and the scrimmage is a little different because we can control it. I mean, we can do thud pace, and that's what we tell the kids. You got live, tag, thud, and you guys are on thud pace. Protect yourself up top, but if we go live, shoot, I remember it was the year before last. They were blowing the whistle when a guy was getting ready to get tackled. I go, that's a little soon, but I get it. And but they want to see basic skills, one-on-ones. How you work with the other 6 guys on a 7-on-7, how you work with the other 10 guys on, a team period. And that's it. That's all you need. You don't need to. You're overcooking a lot of things that you really don't need to, and we're there when the scout. I saw that I said that the Dream Bowl or something is running pretty similar to us, or the hula, which I'm like, guys, there's so many weekends in January. You do realize because of our format and you're playing a game on that day, they're not going to show up at your game.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're playing AT&T Stadium, you're playing at, Notre Dame, you're playing at, the Coliseum. They're not going to show up because they're at our event doing the same thing they just did the week before at yours. And, but I told the NFL, you're smart. You'd regulate these games, not sanction them because we are sanctioned, but regulate them. Hey, you got this weekend, you got this weekend, you got this weekend, and you give scouts a break. But since they're independently owned per se, and people think they're going to get whomever, and they got to go on this weekend because I don't have to go on the first weekend. It's just we've always done it. If someone says, hey, you're going to go on the third weekend, so be it. We're still going to get the same result, because we treat people our treatment of people and what we do isn't going to change.
Yeah.
But like I said, what do I know? I've just been doing it for about 12 years.
What do you know? You know how to run a good CGS All-Star game. There is no question about anything else. We'll let the people debate out there. You absolutely know how to run a CGS All-Star game, which is at CGS All-Star on X. Make sure you check it out. Follow CGS All-Star. All these updates. I believe the resume, the information for that internship is out there. Of course, the dates are out there. All the information on that tracking football partnership you have. Last time we talked, we challenged you to get more on the social medias at Jose Jefferson 70. Now that you're a GM, Jose, have you followed up? Are you any more active on the socials?
I am, yes and no. I'm just not that guy. I mean, and I have to do a better job of that. That's Rod Newhouse. Rod, both of you guys. Rod's kind of like my pseudo agent, and I say that because I really don't have an agent, but every contract that I've ever gotten between FIU and XFL, he's reviewed, and you may want to put this in, blah, 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 blah. But he's another one, because of Neil, I'm coming to the Combine this year. So, check mark me in there. And I just don't, if that's one thing I can honestly say I don't do a good job of. I am not a politician. I am not an out there guy. I've always, and maybe that's an old school thing to where if you do a good job, people will come find you. And it proved itself twice because I didn't apply for the XFL, and for damn sure I didn't apply for FIU. Right. And so that's always been my thing. But I understand you got to meet people where they're at, and kids will be there. I say this not in boast, but I have gotten job offers since I've been a GM, which I thought was kind of weird that I haven't gone through a season yet. And I'm thinking I haven't done anything yet, but it's gotten better to where I will say this. I do check it daily now, go. As opposed to just letting it go and
progress.
I'll get to it.
Baby steps. We've taken steps since last time then.
I've even looked at Chat GPT and
that is a whole nother realm now.
It is so funny. I put myself in Chat GPT as an evaluation. Oh my God, I was a stud.
Send that.
It said so many nice things about me as an athlete.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought it was interesting because they did say some people were evaluating players through Chat GPT, and I'm like, how the hell do you do that? And I put myself in, and I guess they took my background, and it said I had elite speed. Hey. And I was like, wow.
You get that elite thrown on anything.
Exactly. I mean, it said stats were unverified though, and I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Well, hey, it's Kurt Warner approved. Jose, at least we know that. Nothing else, man.
Yeah, he won't admit it publicly, but he said I was the fastest receiver he's ever thrown through. He doesn't want to piss off Hakeem and Torrey Holt, and I'm like, those guys are freaking slow.
They can deal with it, but Jose, this has been fantastic. Everybody follow Jose Jefferson 70. Follow CGS All-Star. Make sure you check it out. Jose, you're getting ready for a season. Good luck. Best of luck at FIU. Actually finally getting to a season. I mean, the sprint and actually, hey, maybe I can actually take a breath during season. That seems, a little counterintuitive, but especially grab a breath before training camp starts here in a couple weeks. And I'd imagine it
we
won't be
play in
long
San
before-
Marcos. We play Sam Houston State. So if you guys are there,
Up the road,
and I
man.
know you had said something, please, come down and we'll take care of you and get you there. Hopefully we'll be bow bound by that time, but we'll see. I'm knocking on some wood right now. So
Yeah.
we play Penn State week 2. So
Hey, there we go. The great test, the big, who do you open with, Jose?
Bethune-Cookman.
Bethune-Cookman. That's
And ironically enough, FIU has never beaten Bethune-Cookman.
You're kidding me. Wow.
So new. And so there's a lot of pressure on that game going in for a lot of reasons. Obviously, it's his first
And
game.
pardon me, I have
FBS
checked the record. Have y'all beaten Penn State yet?
Wow.
Probably beat them as the first team on the field, being the visitor. But I'm excited for that game. I mean, I'm not saying, are we going to do what Northwestern did to Notre Dame? I'm not going to say that, but could it happen? Absolutely. I mean, anybody can get beaten, but the things that you hope is that you walk out the way you walked in.
Yep.
That you can make it close for a little bit, and that the check cashes once you leave. That's about it.
Check the boxes.
Yeah.
Certainly awesome. Jose, well, this has been fantastic. Really appreciate you being on, and best of luck this fall.
Thank you, guys. You guys do a hell of a job. I appreciate you.
Agents, before we go, make sure you go check out Agent Live 360. It is at agentlive360.com for everything you need for your agency, from players to coaches, managing profiles, tracking invoices, sending invoices, getting paid, keeping up on every element of your entire agency. Notification emails, file, folder, storage, ROI, transactions, invoices, calendar, contracts, teams, reps, everything all in one spot for you. That is Agent Live 360. Hop on, request a demo. Yours truly will hop on, walk you through it. I can promise you we will talk some football as well. Sign up now with code TRIAL90 for a 90-day, 3-month trial at just $10 a month for Agent Live 360. That's at agentlive360.com. Go check it out now.